Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Listen, we are talking about retouching up the face today, or repairing. Now I say repairing because something I think that is the biggest mistake people make when they are doing their makeup is doing their whole face and then only thinking about fixing their makeup to their face within that moment. Whereas what I think is a really great strategy to do with your makeup, should you find that it often gets patchy or gets quite greasy or creases and stuff like this, is to repair it later on in the day when it needs to be repaired. So I'm talking nose maybe that has been really shiny and has removed some of the makeup, dryness on the cheeks, patchiness, creasing under the eye here. And that's what we're looking at today. I'm going to go through everything with you. I am purposely wearing a foundation that is slightly too light for my skin tone and too hydrating for my skin because I've been wearing it for a few hours, but I wanted it to be kind of cakey looking and needing some help. And if when it's too light, you can kind of see texture a little bit more. So we're going to say I've been wearing this for a good 3 or 4 hours, which I have been. And again, I've purposely chosen a foundation that doesn't sit too well on my skin, and I haven't prepped my skin the way I usually would because I wanted it to be a little congealed. So we're going to imagine it's our lunch break at work or something like that. We're looking in the mirror and we're thinking, oh my gosh, I could do with a little touch up. Or we just looked in the mirror at a restaurant and we're like, oh crap, I really need to do something here. That's what we're going to do. Under eyes, the nose, the whole face in general. And coming into the summer months, we're also going to be talking about SPF over makeup, how to apply that, which brings me on to today's sponsor, HaruHaru Wonder. We're going to be talking in particular about their Black Rice Moisture Airy Fit Daily Sunscreen. This is SPF 50 PA+++++. That's 4 pluses, very high protection. So you've seen me talk about this so often. I've gone through so many tubes of this. You know me, I love a good sunscreen. I love a good sunscreen that sits under makeup. And I love especially how HaruHaru Wonder make incredible sunscreens that sit over makeup as well. Why I love this one in particular to pair with makeup is because it's not greasy at all. The texture kind of gives you this velvety finish on the skin. It's not that shine that you can get from some sunscreens, especially SPF 50s. And I know for a fact that a lot of people, when you are wearing makeup, will skip your sunscreen step because you think, my foundation has SPF, my whatever has SPF, it's not enough. Ignore the SPFs in your foundations, in your skin tints. You need a solid SPF. And even though it is great for oily people, it is truly a sunscreen that works for all skin type. And it has so many great skincare ingredients that if you want to use this on the day you're doing your makeup as your moisturizer, as your primer, you can absolutely do that and you're good to go. Your skin is going to feel moisturized and it's going to be the perfect base for your foundation. Now, one of the key ingredients, as you probably guessed, is black rice. So black rice infused oil acts as an antioxidant on your skin. So it's not only protecting your skin from UV rays, it's protecting your skin from free radicals that are all around us all the time, just trying to get into your face. And this contains niacinamide, and you're going to be wearing this daily, so it's really going to help even out your skin tone, which I'm sure a lot of us could use. I know I could. So if you got to the point in your life where you're like, you know what, I should be applying my SPF every day, but you also like doing your makeup every single day, go for this one: skincare, primer, SPF, and it's great on top of makeup, and I am going to show you that a little bit later on in this video. So I'm going to link down below where this SPF is available for you, depending where you are in the world. And thank you again to HaruHaru Wonder for sponsoring this video and making it so easy to reapply our SPF throughout the day. Okay, let's have a little zoom in on my face. So my skin isn't looking the worst it could look. What we do have here is some creasing under the eye. I don't know if you can see that there. And some creasing under the eye here too. It's not terrible. I'm kind of shiny around my nose, and actually the foundation has gathered in like this area of my nose, and I'm looking a little bit, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dry on my my cheeks here, so it's not in good shape. It's visible that I've been wearing it for a good few hours. So we're gonna fix this face all together, right? So we're gonna repair the creases, we're gonna make the product itself look a little bit more hydrated, and powder and apply sunscreen and powder. Here's what you need to know first though. Repairing your makeup throughout the day is not easy if you have over powdered during your initial application. It's okay to use a small amount of powder. get some shine down, maybe a little bit of powder in the middle. But the more powder you use, the more difficult it is to repair these finishes. The reason I say that is because if I put loads of powder under my eye, and you'll see the steps we're going to do in a bit, if I rehydrate that area, I'm kind of rehydrating this powdery, foundation-y texture that's just going to kind of clump and go kind of drier, and it's not, I'm going to have to like, I can't repair it. I would have to remove it and reapply. So here's what I've got. Here are my tools. I have my foundation I initially applied with. I have a pressed powder. Then I have a hydrating mist. Now this is the Pretty Fresh Peptides Niacinamide Lock It In setting spray from Colourpop. I don't believe this is a setting spray. It's a hydrating mist, okay? So we're not looking for a setting spray. We're not looking for anything that's going to dry our face. We're looking for hydration. We have a brush that has a very lightweight tip to it. It's almost like a duo fiber. But it's very soft at the top. This is the Katie Jane Hughes Spectrum one. I got all tissue stuck to it. So we're looking for something not stubby. We want something very light. And then we have our sunscreen. And then we have a flat, almost like a cushion foundation pad. You can get any beauty sponge and cut it in half and use the inside. And I'll go through that why later. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at our face and think, okay, what's happening? So for me, product has physically come away around my nose. So I'm gonna need to apply more foundation there. My under eyes are creasing. So what I'm gonna have to do is rehydrate that area because we're rehydrating the product, tap some product in and maybe a little bit of powder. And then we want protection on the rest of our face. So we want to, sorry, this foundation is so light, I look sick. Okay, and then apply some powder afterwards. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our touch up pad, and we're literally just going to lean into the fact that our foundation is ruined, right? That is all going wrong. So I'm going to tap around every single area that I need to reapply the foundation. Perhaps you see it's come away around my nose. So I'm just going to tap in the foundation that's already set and absorb some oil from those areas. And this includes under the eye as well. Now you'll notice under the eye doesn't look any better from doing this. At the moment, I'm just absorbing any oil or something that may have come down from the top of our eyelids, which reminds me we can wipe our eyelids too, around the nose, and on any texture that is appearing on our face. Now what we're going to do is get our hands nice and warm. A lot of people run kind of cold. So just give your hands a rub together like this, mainly your fingers. This is because we want to warm up the product, right? The product is always sitting on our skin and our skin is always body temperature, but sometimes we just need a little bit more. And what body temperature does is it kind of like thickens up the product and re-warms up the product. So with a warm hand, I'm then gonna go, especially under the eye, I'm almost using my finger like a little touch up, like a little spoon, almost like I'm cupping underneath the eye, but at this angle. Can you see I'm not like this, I'm like this. I'm like lifting underneath the eye and pushing. I'm not wiping, I'm not moving my finger at all. I'm literally pushing. And I'm gonna now rely on the warmth of my fingers, of my hands, to re-warm up that area. You can see, I don't know if it shows well on camera, but compared to this side, you can see that it's already kind of evened out the concealer slightly just by warming up that product. So we're pushing up into the eye. Be very careful because it is still your skin under the eye, so you still want to be very, very careful. And don't forget this outside corner too. Sometimes concealer can gather in that area. Okay, now we want to hydrate everything. What we don't want to do is go back on top of our skin with our foundation, and I think this is what people commonly make a mistake doing, is they just like, oh shit, let me touch up, and they just go whack it straight on top. That's not what we want to do if our foundation has been compromised or ruined. We're going to take our hydrating mist and spray it over the whole face. I'm going to dampen my face. And I'm closing my eyes, not very tightly, and then I'm looking up as well. One thing you'll notice with your eyes, when you look up, your under eyes here stretch slightly. When you look down, they close up, right? So I'm closing my eyes and I'm looking up, and I'm spraying the mist at an angle like this, so it's catching my under eyes too. If you want to, optional, I don't not a big fan of this, but you can take a really fluffy brush, just because I'm like, you're not going to carry around like a really fluffy brush. And by the way, you don't need this whole mist thing. I bought these little things from Amazon, and this is literally what's in there, so I can have it in my bag and touch up if I'm at like an event or something like that. But I was saying, you can take a brush, like a not too stubby, not too harsh. You can see this one has a slight angle on it, and you can dampen your brush with a mist and tap a little bit off and then go under here. The only thing that you risk with this is using too much product, right? We don't want to use so much product that it's going to make the texture of our skin, texture of our face, like kind of slippery. Now you can see already that has actually done quite well under the eyes. It's actually kind of like really hydrated everything and smoothed everything out. What I'm going to do now, while my face is still a little bit damp, I'm going to use the pad or the sponge that we used in our first step, but I'm not using the same side. I'm actually going to flip this ribbon around and use the other side. And now I'm going to go even more into those areas while my skin is still damp and push that product round slightly. Now what that second step does is it can potentially remove some of your makeup, remove some of that foundation that isn't actually sitting very well on top of your skin. So you can see around my nose here, it's actually taken off quite a bit of that foundation. But now what we've done is removed any excess foundation that is sitting on top of our skin and isn't gonna sit for much longer. We've taken it away without removing our makeup. So now we can go in with our foundation we were using before and reapply onto a nice, smooth, hydrated texture. Now I can go in with a sponge, and I would recommend getting some of these like cushion foundation pads. Even if you're using a liquid, you can just put a little bit of a liquid on the back of your hand and use these. The reason is because it's minimally invasive. With a brush or like a rounder beauty blender, you either have to rub or tap loads or dampen the product, whereas with a pad like this, we're very close to the skin, and that allows us to use less pressure to apply our product, which in turn means we're not messing with the texture of our skin. So that's looking good to me. One tip I would say is start with the center of the face, okay? So when I'm touching up, I'm going to start with a nose first, because these are areas that tend to hold a little bit more redness for us. If you have a deeper skin tone and you have discoloration around the mouth, or discoloration around here, perhaps on the sides of the forehead here, start with those areas and you cover it with your foundation, and that's what peeks through when your foundation starts to fade away throughout the day. Start with those areas. We are looking for the areas that we tend to cover the most with our foundation, because ideally what we want to do here is not now do a whole new face of foundation. We just want to cover those areas that are peeping through our foundation that weren't when we initially applied it. And that tends to be where we have redness or our discoloration. So cover those areas first and then see, okay, do I want more coverage everywhere else? For under our eyes, I'm going to use my finger, because we don't want to go in with a pad. We don't want to push too much product on. We want a warm product, and we want to use the warmth of our finger to apply that product back. And again, I'm using that same kind of method. I'm looking up so that under eye skin is stretched, kind of doing that cupping motion again, but this time I am tapping and lifting a little bit more, just because we're trying to blend in products. Okay, so we still have powder and we still have sunscreen to do. I'm going to do another spritz of our hydrating spray. If you have a fan, please do. Okay, just while I wait for that to dry a little bit more, let's talk about SPF over foundation. Now, obviously, we can't have it perfect, right? There is going to be a little bit of compromise. And by that, I mean, if you wear a matte foundation, of course, the finish of your foundation is no longer going to be matte. It's going to have a little bit more of a glow to it, a little bit more off. If you're using the HaruHaru Wonder, it's a little bit more of a velvety finish to it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pump some out on the back of my hand. I know it's quite a bit, but you need a lot of SPF. I'm going to take so we've been using this side of this pad. I'm going to take this side, and 3 fingers, 2 in the hoop, 1 on top like this. And I'm going to take a good helping of the SPF onto that sponge, and I'm literally going to tap it over my foundation. And my tapping is all in the wrist here. I'm being very light-handed, and I'm tapping over my foundation. And I'm going to let that just sit for a moment on top of the foundation, on top of the skin. And again, I'm focusing on those main areas first that tend to get a lot of sun damage the quickest. So on the apples of the cheeks. Okay, and then I'm going to start from my brows and tap it quite quickly now up into the hairline. And that is the SPF over the foundation. It actually looks newer with the SPF than it does without. We're gonna let that set for a good few minutes, let the SPF do its thing, and then I'm gonna go in with powder. This is one of my favorite. I hope they still make this. This is the Wakemake Stay Fixer pack. It's vegan. And it's the softest powder I think I've ever used in my life. And it just disappears into the skin. It's beautiful. It is so stunning. And whenever I use this in conjunction with any foundation, I get the most beautiful long wearing finish. When I was on that brand trip with Tier, this was my combination. So with that powder, we're only going to powder where necessary, right? And this is how we should do it at the start of every day, so it's easier to repair. So we know we get a little bit shiny around the nose here, so that's what we're gonna do. A little bit under eyes. And I mean like the smallest amount, because what we don't want to do after all that hydrating is then dehydrate that area. And also we're going to do just a little bit of a circle on the cheek here. All right, if you have any questions, let me know down below. I'm sure I can absolutely answer them for you. Check out the links down below for HaruHaru Wonder. I just showed you how easy it was to apply SPF over your foundation and not have to compromise the wear of your foundation. And if you want matte, you just put powder on a little bit later, but my skin looks great. It looks absolutely fine. I have all the links down below so you can find where to purchase this incredible sunscreen, and just so easy to reapply. That's our main thing today. So when you're doing your makeup in the morning, think about, have I done my makeup so I can fix it later on, or am I trying too hard to solidify where it is right now on my face? You know what I mean? Make sure that you're thinking later on, how's this texture gonna be? Does my skin get so oily that I'm gonna need to touch it up a little bit later on, but if I use too much powder, it's gonna be all claggy? Think about that. It's easier to repair your makeup throughout the day than it is trying to find a way to stop it from completely moving. All right, thanks again for joining me. Consider subscribing, and I will see you very soon. Bye.